We talk to many organisations, different types of organisations, different levels within the organisation, and two words crop up on a regular basis. They are creativity and innovation. I don't think there's an organisation in the land that does now not claim to be innovative, for example. But we're yet to find any organisation that has a crystal clear definition of precisely what those words mean. So, let me give you a simple definition of both of those terms. First, we're going to focus on creativity. Creativity is simply the process of generating ideas that are both novel, never thought of that before, and useful, I'd like to do something with it. So a simple definition, creativity is the generation of ideas that are both novel and useful. The problem we have as individuals within the organisation is that we are all instinctively fantastic at generating useful ideas, but we are rubbish when it comes to novelty. Now, the vast majority of the time, that's not an issue at all, because actually useful ideas are what we need 99.999% of the time in any organisation. We got a problem, we don't want novelty, we just want a useful idea that we can implement and move things forward. Useful ideas drive the continuous improvement process, and if all we want is continuous improvement, don't worry about creativity at all. The difficulty we have as adults is that we are all consistently rubbish when it comes to novelty, and novelty is the driving force behind the creative process. Now, we have another major issue here, which is within our heads, useful kills novel. We're very quick to useful, we're very slow to novel. And so if you give us a problem, we will quickly generate a useful idea. And once you've got a useful idea, novelty doesn't get a look in. We need help now. If we're going to generate creative ideas, we need to slow down the natural process of generating useful ideas to give novel a look in. And there's a whole range of creative process techniques that we can use to do that. Creativity is fundamentally a two-stage process. And stage one of the process is to forget useful completely. We're not interested in useful, we need to suppress that. We need to focus on novelty. Give me a novel idea that's crazy, outrageous, ridiculous. It would solve the problem if only it were possible, which is not. That novel and useless idea we call an intermediate impossible, and is the essential stepping stone towards creativity. Once we've got the intermediate impossible, what we then need to do is to grab hold of the novelty and understand it. We've got a novel idea that's useless, but it would solve the problem. If we can understand the characteristics that means it solves the problem, then we can use stage two, using what we're good at, try and find a useful approach to delivering exactly the same set of characteristics. So stage one, generate a novel idea that would solve the problem, but it's not possible. Stage two, grab hold of the novelty and understand it, interrogate it, and see if you can't find a useful way of delivering exactly the same effect. Bingo, we've got a creative solution. Now, one thing that we need to take on board here, is an interesting observation, is that whilst adults are brilliant at useful and rubbish at novel, young children are just the other way around. They are brilliant at novel, for goodness sake, but they are rubbish when it comes to useful. What we need to do, if we're serious about creativity, is understand what happens within a child's mind. And so many of these techniques that we're using have playfulness embedded right at the heart of the techniques. And if we're not prepared to be childlike in our problem-solving processes, then the creative techniques don't get a look in. Only ever play with these techniques with people who want to play. The definition of innovation is then dead straightforward. It's basically making money out of creativity. It's taking a novel and useful idea and finding a way of implementing it to transform the organisation. It's that process of taking that novel idea and implementing it in the organisation to transform it, to enhance the performance of the organisation. We've got to be careful about that phrase, making money. There are many organisations in the public sector, social enterprises that get uncomfortable with that. Every organisation in the land wants to find ways of generating more money or doing more things with the money that it's got. Ideally, both, for goodness sake. That's what I mean about making money. So every organisation should want to generate ideas that are both novel and useful, and then find a way of implementing them to transform the business. That's what creativity and innovation are all about.